started it all, man. I just always loved music, and me and a few of my best friends. It was me, Mark, Chris, and Gracie, and we just, we shared that passion together. We always, hung out. We grew up and knew each other from the age of 8. We just shared that music, man. We always listened to music every time we were playing games together, and we just kind of fell into it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion, and you're in for a really, really cool treat today. If you watch this on YouTube, you're kind of missing out. EnterversetV is streaming our video today, but you get to see it here. Go join EnterversetV. Links will be down below. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and God, watch this really, please. And our guest is...
Hey, I'm MadMoxx. Just this really sick punk rock panda that you probably met on VRChat. But hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, thank you very much for joining us, Mox. It's an absolute pleasure getting to meet you today. What is it you do here in the virtual world?
Appreciate you being here.
In the virtual world, man, it's this crazy thing of hat tricks, right? You wear a bunch of hats and you do the things. So when I first got into VR, I got into it with Joey Bagels, watching him do his thing. And I'm like, hey, that looks like a fun adventure. So I decided to come here. Lo and behold, I started doing up music and having fun and learning how to play music. I found myself in a music community and then raised that music community to do awesome, cool gigs, charity events, and help get the musicians out there and give them that spotlight they deserve. So I do all of the above. I'm a very versatile person. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
When he said hat tricks, Lion, I thought he was going to just say he does magic tricks with a guitar. And I was going, well, wait a minute. I've never seen you pull anything out of the hat. How I hear you playing music? What?
You know what I can pull out of a guitar?
I bet. Here we go.
All the lost guitar picks,
Oh. Do you lose guitar picks often in guitars?
I hear about that a lot from a lot of fellow musicians. Personally, I'm a finger stylist, so I don't suffer that same stigma that most other guitarists do, but from what I hear, yeah, they lose them all the time. It's like they have their own legs.
Kind of like socks in the washing machine or the dryer. They just kind of eat it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
At least you said socks and not underwear, because that'd be a little weird going, gosh, Mom, where's my underwear? Wash machine ate it again. I don't know what else you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. It's usually not the washing machine, it's the dryer. It's the dryer that usually eats it. It's not the washing machine, it's the dryer. Because everybody forgets to go when they pull it out, that one that just don't see and walk off, and then it just sits there and flops around for the next 2 weeks, and you're looking for your sock. You're going, Mom, what happened to my sock? I don't know. Didn't you put it in the laundry? And it's been in there the whole time, just going around with the rest of the laundry the whole next 2 weeks. You know how it goes. Nuts.
Hey, man, that thing's been cooking for a while.
It don't even fit your foot anymore. It don't even fit your foot anymore. Your sister could wear it. That's how much it shrunk down.
Jesus, man, that's a small foot.
So, Mox,
yeah, true, very true.
How did you get started with all of this and to creating the community of musicians and getting into VR?
That's a loaded question. It started, and it's funny because I still remember that day. I was just your typical degen, still am, but I was a typical degen back then, just having drinks and mirror dwelling. And one night I'd seen this awesome little panda, and he started playing music. He played 2 of my favorite songs. The first one was Creep by Radiohead, and then he also played Zombie from the Cranberries. And we just started talking, and I was just like, I've been a singer for quite a while, and I did punk, I did a bunch of stuff, but I never actually got to play instruments. I always wanted to, and he, I told him that, and he goes, well, do you have a guitar? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, pick that up. And I'm like, okay, and do what? And he goes, play a fucking song, man. So that's how it begun. That's how everything started. It was just weekend after weekend, just getting together, having fun, trying to learn music, trying to learn how to play and sing at the same time, which is not as easy as you think. and just bonding with this cool musician that eventually starts bringing me over to the artifex community and their campfire jams. And yeah, he just roped me in. That's how he got me, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere because everyone was just very encouraging. They loved the music. You could tell they loved the music. They were just there, just having fun, playing song after song for each other. And to them, it was never enough. They always wanted to do an extra song. It was good times, man. It still is.
I'm sure. It sounds like you're up to a lot. Did you have any experience prior to VRChat playing music?
Oh, absolutely. I'd been in bands when I was a teenager, and then after, like, a while, uh, even after we get through so many bands, one of my first gigs I ever played at was Chain Reaction, and we were called the Static Discharge. In hindsight, that was not the smartest name, but
Hey, look what I left behind. Did you play that? No, it wasn't my song. Sorry. Somebody else's. I just left it. No big deal.
And then I did some other music with like my cousins and stuff over in Ireland, and that was called Open the Skies, and we just did a lot of fun cool stuff. And that I've had for the most part, songwriting and singing was my thing. Never instruments, and I'm happy now that I have that under my belt. It's super rewarding.
So, since you've had experience playing music in both VR and real life, is there any differences between the two in your own opinions?
Oh, massively. Massively. But I will say each one has its own unique niche, right? So, and each one is just as rewarding as the next. So in performing at gigs and doing IRL stuff, there is nothing like being on a stage. I'm gonna tell you right now. Just feeling the energy in the room, and everybody's there to listen to you, have fun. You're scared to death, all right? You're going, I hope I don't mess this up, and I hope they like it. I hope we don't get booed off the stage. Never happened to me. I just did a lot of crazy stuff. But that feeling is just, when it reverberates through you, you're singing your song, you're really getting into it, it's awesome. So you can actually get that same effect here in VRChat now. We do a lot of stage and curated events like that. It might not exactly 100% be that, energy that you get in a room in a live setting, but they're still there. They're listening to you, and it's even more. There's even more pressure because, most of the time the etiquette is no one's talking, so everyone's, just listening to everything you're doing. So it's just way more pressure, but that much more rewarding because you're just singing and everyone's listening.
So is there an etiquette difference between real life and VR shows?
Oh, yeah, dude. Look at any concert. And I'm talking like punk gigs, I'm talking metal, like anything, and you see how everyone reacts. You have a crowd or a stage presence that it's essentially a needed thing for a musician to have. And believe me, I had my own, and I've had my own shenanigans too on the stage, like mic spinning and all that stuff. It pumps the crowd up, and oh my god, it gets everyone screaming, everyone's singing with you, and if they know your music, So yeah, there's definitely a big different etiquette because in VR, most of the time, people are trying to listen to you, and they employ a hush policy where it might mess up a musician who's not a live musician, like on the outside. It might trip them up. I try to teach people to get beyond that, who are not used to live environments like that. So at most of my places, I try to be like, you can talk, because we've deafened it enough for them. And my hopes is to get them to get used to stuff like that, so that way they can go on and do live events themselves.
Oh, so how has it been to try and to achieve that? And what are your thoughts on that whole VR stigma?
It's you're trying to achieve that. It's a mountain, it's a molehill. And it's a challenge. But my approach is my personality and just being a musician. Just going up to say, hey man, you want to play a song? You know, just like as that my friend Todd told me the very first day, play a damn song. You know, that's what it's about. It's about the music, the passion that goes behind that music that you love to listen to, that you love to perform. I've had a lot of success. One of the biggest successes I've ever had with someone was a lovely little one called It's My. And she had the worst stage fright you could ever imagine. And she began singing in here at the age of 14. I had known her for 4 years, helping her on stage, getting her out there, and she even started learning music, studying at university now. She's become in my opinion, one of the best singers. And it's amazing to see her transformation from extremely shy, extremely, has stage stricken, to owning that stage and having pride in it. It even makes me cry, almost, because it's a beautiful thing to see.
It is very much a beautiful thing to see. I've seen a lot of stories like that personally, where people will come into VR shy, maybe they have a hard time speaking with people, and then they go see a show, or maybe they go to a world that inspires them and change. I've seen friends change in the exact same fashion, and
it changes your life. Yeah, it definitely does. I can tell you, this all saved my life, actually.
Really?
Because I was going down a horrible road. Just going to live venues, just, slogging it. And it's not a pretty life, I'm telling you. You get into things you never thought you would imagine yourself doing. And it nearly killed me. And coming here and playing music with a friend, keeping me in a safe environment. It's in my opinion, a very good environment to learn music. To do it with other people like-minded and be a part of something more. Because the world is growing, man. The internet's growing. Here we are now. We're talking. This is going to be on the internet. This is on the internet. The days are gone where, we still have radio stations, but, we're changing. We need to change with it.
One of the things I appreciate of the modern internet is its ability to allow artists to own their own work. Gone are the days where you'd go to a label, you'd sign your life away on a contract, and then hopefully maybe one day you'll make it. Here, the only thing stopping you is your own ability to market yourself and do work on it.
You're right. And a lot of that has to do with the labels back then, right? They could get the budget for this. Back then, they'll throw a budget at you, and a sizable one. Hey, I want you to get this album done. Here's this much money. And they actually gave you a good chunk to do this. Nowadays, the budgets are so small. They're very, very, very small. A musician, it takes way more for a musician to actually make nowadays. But we have the tools now. Sample kits. We have DAWs, digital audio workstations, and more. 2 people can produce amazing albums and more. Nowadays, with less budget. Billie Eilish is an example right there.
Wow.
That's what she did. Her and her brother. 2 people made beautiful music. Low budget.
Wow. There are a lot of stories out there that are helping people, and even in VR, for a great example. Like, when I first came here, I never expected to see as many artists or world creators or even musicians like yourself in here, but they're everywhere in here now. Like, it's so often you'll see a community build someone up or help someone learn, and I appreciate that about VRChat, is that very thing.
Yeah, me too. It has changed my life entirely. I've gotten into more music than I ever would have. I've always loved other music, but come on, a teenager back then, when you're all about punk, you're just like, oh, your music doesn't sound as good as mine. You're just not so loving, I guess. Nowadays, I can tell you, just doing it, just being able to I write my own music. I have originals. Doing all this, I come to appreciate the singer-songwriter and more so, any producer. I hear it all, the passion that goes behind it, and just any music that I hear online, especially here on VRChat, blows me away. It really does.
Wow.
It's a beautiful thing to see how it's succeeding. Friends like Naku, he's evolved massively. He's a great singer-songwriter. I don't know if you've ever heard any of his other work. He was a pianist and a singer. Just that's all he was for a while. Beautiful, beautiful work. Now he does even cooler work. He's getting in these DJ sets. He's making his own sounds, and he's really getting into it. He's messing with sounds. And that's the beautiful thing about these days and being online as a musician is experimentation with sound. We don't have that many limitations anymore.
So, may I ask you a question? What kinds of things does it take for you as an artist to perform in VR? Like, what do you do to prepare for all
It's
of
very simple. Oh, to prepare?
Well, prepare, and how do you run all of that? Sorry, my English is very amazing, I know.
No, you're okay. Yeah, you're okay. Honestly, when I first started out, I started out on a Turtle Beach headset. So you can start whenever you want. You can start however you want. You could have the worst microphone in the world, but as long as you're doing the music yourself, you're doing this, you're learning this, you're doing it for you, man. You can start in any way. You will, grow. You will grow your home studio. And like the first thing I would recommend if you ever get into it is an audio interface. Get an audio interface, get an XLR microphone. And if you have an instrument, hope that instrument has a pickup, or get another microphone to mic the instrument up too. And it, all the knowledge is out there these days. You can find a cheap Focusrite. 2i2 has 2 inputs. I know what I'm talking. I'm being a nerd now. I know. Okay. But in essence, it's out there.
So, what is a 2i2 in some of those terms you've mentioned? Because unfortunately, I'm a half-wit, so I don't know what some of those things are.
It's a brand. So the Scarlett Focusrite 2i2 is a 2-in 2-out audio interface. They have combo plugs in it. So you can either use a instrument cable, which is your 1/4 1/4-inch. You ever see the regular analog jacks that you use for your headphones and stuff? Think of that, but a really big one. You can use that, plug that in, and that's a direct input. It's usually a TRS cable, which is a balanced input that you need, or an XLR cable, which is a lot better than that. So that's what the 2i2 can really. It's a powerhouse in my opinion, for very, very cheap, to be honest. I mean, I have my own slogs and issues with it. I personally use a Yamaha, but it's a good one to start out with. Good interface.
Okay. Now, is there anything on the software side that you use to do shows and stuff in VR, or is it just straight out of your mic?
Me personally, I'm an analog boy, so everything I have, like I have 2 microphones set up right here, right now. My vocal mic, which is my SM7B, my instrument mic, which is my SM57. I have amplifiers, I have things running through things, but you do have DAWs, digital audio workstations, such as Voicemeeter. If most people have probably heard of that program, that's a DAW. You can do digital routing through that, which it's a kind of like more to get into, but more or less, you can hook up things the same way you do with a mixer or an audio interface in a way. And equalize your sound. Those are really good to use. You can even use voice mod. Actually, voice mod is a not one of the best, but it does have some equalization tools in it as well.
I got a question for him, Lane.
Shoot. Oh.
I actually have two, but we'll start with the first one. You've been playing guitar and stuff like this, and I was always told and everything else like this. What string instrument you can play, but you cannot play a sad song on it?
What stringed instrument you can play? Banjo.
You got it. This boy knows his shit. Yes, indeed. Yes.
That's just off the top of my head, just thinking about it.
Yep, it's true. You can't play a sad song on a banjo. I've never seen it. If anybody can prove me wrong, bring it on. I want to hear it. And I've heard a lot of banjo players because I love the sound of it and a steel guitar. The other one, the other question, I ask this all the time. Well, I knows this question as much as anybody else. When you first come on the VR, right? And wherever you went and everything else like this, what was the weirdest thing you saw and you turned around and go, nope, I'm out of here. I got to go. Nope. Forget this. What was the weirdest thing you ever seen?
Can I say that on air?
Then it's really deep. Okay. Well, log it in different forms if you can. If you can't, there's just say what you can.
I can creatively plug it in.
Okay.
So there was this one time I was just trying to catch up with a friend. I'd improve in my guitar skills. Mind you, I've only been learning guitar for about four or 5 years now. So I'm not, in my opinion, not that good at it, but a lot of people, they'll tell me otherwise. This was 3 years ago, so I wasn't where I'm at today. But I was just trying to catch up with someone, and they told me that they were in a dungeon.
Oh.
So I went. I was very naive, okay? You can imagine, you know, those who play VRChat.
You could use your imagination. It'll go a long ways in here, folks. And if you are you talking the kind of dungeons where it's just D&D? No, not that kind of situation.
Oh, not that
think
one. No.
Deeper. No, think deeper.
We crit failed. We crit failed these rolls, and we're never getting them back.
Well, there goes that 20 died out right down the old bone. Well, went down the drain. I ain't getting it back. Why? Because I don't want to go over there. You keep it.
Yeah,
it's all yours.
No.
Yeah.
I love this person in particular, though. With the jazzness that had happened, they both stopped, looked at me, and she said, "Oh, hey, Moxie, I haven't seen you in a while. If you want to go next, just wait there." And I'm like, no. I'm here for music.
Sorry, the meter ran out. I don't got no change. Sorry, I'm going. I'll take the car and go home. I don't want a ticket. Yeah, I got you. I understand where that works. Yeah. Yep.
And that was just the first time.
The first time?
Oh, crap. First time? Oh,
I've ran into that quite a bit on here. It's wild.
Well, there's a lot of that. Yes, it's wild and everything else like this. It just, I've never heard of some way of being the first time going, wow, I went to a dungeon today. So what'd you do? Well, can't beat that. I'm out. There's nothing where I can go. I'm done. Yeah, I can't beat that one.
I got some new gear in my D&D campaign. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Yep, I hear you. Too bad the chains are still stuck to the wall. I understand where that one's going.
Yeah, it's definitely not a boon.
No, definitely.
It's not a boom. No, not at all.
That's one class you want no levels in at all.
No, you just lose the game.
You just want to say, well, hey, the dungeon master, can you just end me now and get it over with? Thank you. I'll fail out real quick. I'll be the little troll that just died by the bigger trolls. Yeah, right.
So, Mox, I do have a question. In your time in VR playing music here after your prior history, what kinds of things did you learn from here that stuck with you?
Oh man, things I never thought I would be doing. I'll tell you right now. Event organization, show organization, hosting. Well, actually, to be honest, I did a lot of hosting before. I was a radio show host for a while there, and it was fun. just doing that. It was just a little talk show we got to do, much like this actually, um, where we would just talk about subjects and stuff, or have people on, and we would talk jazz or have them perform live for us. It was really really cool. But for VR, yeah, I would say the event organization part, being able to manage a team, and pulling magic tricks out of dark places that I never thought I was capable of doing in a moment's notice.
Mask, could you explain
What's
that?
he mean? Yeah. Yeah, I'm lost. What the heck are you talking about?
Well,
I'm lost. Magic tricks?
Me and one of my good friends, actually two of them are here. We used to do this charity thing, right? And we, at a moment's notice, 3 days in advance, we're told, you need to get a gig together in 3 days for 3 hours for this. It was an interesting little thing. They were going to a convention where they were going to have their XR presentation, and we were going to be the entertainment. And it was the craziest thing because 3 days in advance, that's not a lot of time to get confirmations from people, right?
No.
But we did it.
Wow.
We worked magic. We moved heaven and earth, and we did it. And those are some of the magic tricks I'm talking about. These two that are in the room, they simultaneously do those magic tricks, and it's amazing at what they can do.
So what was that?
When he says magic tricks, when he says magic tricks, it reminds me of the Bugs Bunny cartoon about the opera singer sitting on the stage. Yep. Oh, you wanted blueberry pie. Oh, well, sorry. Nah, my bad. You wanted cherry. Yeah, I got you. Gotcha.
No, we wanted the blueberry, but we never got the chance to get the cherry, and that was, it was depressing.
There. Gotcha. That makes sense. Poor hat.
What was
Poor
that?
Hat.
That event you mentioned? What happened during that event? What was it, may I ask?
I specialize, and I tend to specialize a lot in music and music events in general. And you can run them really, really easily. I'll tell you this. Just need a stage manager, need performers, wrangle these performers, especially in VR, you would probably need a hospitality and maybe some security, so that way in-house, dealing with moderation and whatnot. But it was just a 3-hour event. I got 3 people on short notice. It was Naku, myself, and I want to say, who was the last one? Was it Lola? No, it was someone else. I can't remember the last performer, but I got them all short notice. That's what I do remember. And it was just a 3-hour gig. Each person was doing an hour set. And it was fun. We did it justice, as we always did. Sullivan and Gobbett over here, they're just amazing at what they do too, because they put in a lot of hard work for this community and more. I wouldn't have been able to do half as much as what I did if it weren't for them.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh yeah, dude, it's the team that makes things work. And for a long time, I tried to go solo, and it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of work too. But when you got a team, it just makes everything smooth.
I can agree. You saying that reminded me of a time one of my old managers working in retail would tell me on a constant basis, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, no, and we really, really underline that. Me and these guys, we did something called Redwood Jams. A 12-hour gig. Wait, no, 8-hour gig. We did a 12-hour gig, but that was something for something else. 8-hour gig, 8 performers, hour sets. Again, this was a XR related thing where there was a convention going on, and it was close to the Redwoods, so that's why we called it Redwood Jams. I actually came up with the name. We were all trying to figure it out, and I was just like, Redwood Jams. And I guess they liked it. But suffice to say, one of the biggest punches that I had ever seen was when they got what was his name? Tim Devine. Tim Devine actually introduced the show. So if you don't know who Tim Devine is, he was actually the guy who signed the Beastie Boys. He signed Katy Perry. This guy is a music industry, MGM Records, I think it was, and a few other places. This guy was a music industry legend. We got to meet him, and we got to bring him here in VR.
Oh.
Yeah, he got to experience that gig, and it was super. He's a really nice guy, by the way. He's really cool. But it was in that moment I realized what you could do with like-minded people who have that passion, who share that passion. And it's stars the limit is what they say. No, you can go further than that.
Oh. So during that event, Redwood Jams, is there anything you got out of that stuck with you?
People enjoyed it. People really had fun. For me, when it comes to gigs, it's about that fun. It's about that passion. It's about getting those musicians out there and them having fun and creating an experience, right? So people will forget what you say. People will forget what you've done. But they will never forget how you make them feel. And that is what I always try to create when we do these gigs. Because music is what? Expression. And that resonates with us deeply. Anytime I do these things is because I want these musicians to get their spotlight. I want them up there and I want them doing what they love the most. And connecting with that audience and these people that want to feel something, that want to listen to this music. They're there, man. Just got to connect them.
So, under those lines of making people feel something, is there anything that VR or VRChat does better or worse in the realm of making people feel something during a show?
I could actually comment on both.
Okay.
So worse.
Here it comes.
Worse. You definitely need technical know-how, but you can find a lot of that technical know-how with other musicians on VRChat. There's a lot of friendly people out there, I tell you, who will help you. Public worlds are a hit and a miss, and I have to tell every musician out there, don't get down on yourself because that's all it ever is going to be is a hit or a miss. There's a lot of trolls out there. You need to steel yourself and wear thick skin when you're out there doing your thing. So that's probably like the worst thing is what I can think of besides, the big worst. And that's about it. The good things. Now, there's plenty of good things. Ease of use is one of them. That's a massive one. I can tell you, going to a gig and having to carry all your equipment, or even going near the beach, carrying all your equipment, setting up, and then tearing down. Now, I'm not lazy, but it's still a lot of work. It's tiring, and you're risking your equipment. Why do that when you can do it here? You can sit in the safety of your own home or studio. Have fun. You're not driving anywhere. Maybe have a drink. Drink responsibly. And reach people from half across the world. The reach is it's there. It's insane, and there's just so much opportunity here in VR and in the virtual space. In fact, one of my idols, Aaron Gillespie, from he's a drummer from Under Oath. He had stated that VR and just the internet is such a fast and growing field that if he were starting out these days, he wouldn't know how the heck to do it. Back then we were going from garage bands, we were going to backyard gigs with friends to venues. And nowadays it's so much easier for the everyday musician to kind of get out there and start on his own. VRChat is just one of those places where you can do it. So there's probably more positives here than there are negatives, in my opinion. I think VRChat and the VR space and even the internet, while it's toxic, could be the most blossoming place in the world. I'm not kidding. It's there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of good people out there.
Amongst those things you said, the amount of gigs you can do. We've heard a lot of people on our show mention that as one of the benefits of VRChat as well, is the ability to hone your craft
Oh yeah.
by the amount of gigs you can get into just by a Discord message versus real life. You got to do the travel, got to find the place, got to eventually get there. You could probably do what, 1 or 2 a week. Here you could do one every other hour, every hour if you wanted.
If you want, yeah, you can push them out way quick, man. Like just before I came in here, I was in a public world. I was playing music. I was tuning one of my microphones, you know, and I heard another musician playing. That's cool, man. You're not gonna see that out there. Actually, you will see that in Santa Monica, but you know, it's just a lot easier to get into here. You can jump from gig to gig. And there's a lot of shows. There's a lot of communities out there. Different communities doing much of the same thing, but you know, different time zones and whatnot. So you can just go and go and go and go like the Energized Bunny. The only thing is I don't have enough batteries, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I got a question for him. Moxie, have you ever got a chance where you actually get a full live band, knowing that one's someplace else, another one's in another state, another country, and everything else like this, and got them together and played? I'm just curious.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, that did happen. We, me and these two actually did a wonderful gig. It was Love Always Wins, Project Hope. Love Always Wins. It was a charity event, a charity concert, 12 hours, and we got 6 communities together. We coordinated with 6 communities to put on a 12-hour show. At the ending, we had Charming Joe perform. He is a big Korean performer. Him and his band from Korea, who weren't all in the same house. You know, like they were down the street from each other, each of them. This is how good their internet is, by the way. They all played together live in VRChat on our stage at the end.
Wow.
And it was one of the most mind-blowing experiences I've ever had. And it was fun. It was great.
I'd love to see that. I'd
Oh,
love to see that.
Who knows? Maybe we'll bring that back. I'd love to have him again. He was such a cool person, fun person.
So from what you do in real life versus here, do you think there's a lot of possibility for this music scene in VR to grow?
Oh, there's more possibility here to grow. Way more. You have access to so many outlets, social medias that you can advertise on. You can stream on so many different platforms. It's just about getting yourself out there and doing these gigs. It's probably a lot more work than it used to be. No, actually, I would say it's about the same. You know what? It's about the same because, like you said, you know, you're working, you're going, and you're going out there. Maybe do 2 gigs a week. You have to travel. Versus this, you're just trying to pack your schedule with gigs, and honestly, sometimes it just becomes a little dizzying. But you can do it if you really push it, man. You have other people that can give you sample tracks and all this stuff. You can work your magic in DAWs. You can work your magic in Ableton, and you can make some amazing music. I've heard some mind-blowing original songs, especially because one of my friends works in the studio, and when he comes on here all the time, he knows some of those people that work on their own music here, and he goes, man, they know what they're doing. He goes, I've gone to school for this. They know what they're doing. So it's nuts when you get that confirmation too, especially. I love it too. It's just there is so much more possibility here in VRChat and the internet, man, for music. We're coming into a great age.
Indeed. You know, whoa. Oh, I broke that. It'll buff. If you're enjoying this, please, I would heavily suggest to follow us on any of our social media. If you go down in the thingamabob, down that way, we have a card, metaversedegen.card.co, with all our social media. Feel free to come follow us at any of those places. We've got Discord. We hang out there all the time. Feel free to come chat. Also, we have a Patreon with 2 people who've joined up now, and I'm going to give them a little bit of a shout out. One of which is Training Fangs, who's a really good friend of ours, and Forbidden Zero, and also a good friend. So please, come follow us, come hang out. Oh, that's my cue to go. Enjoy the video. from a lot of the people we spoke to for various things, not just music, one of the things that always blows my mind is how many people come into VRChat, get inspired, and start doing things here. Music, coding, or what say you. And they just start from the ground up.
Oh yeah.
Like, go maybe watch some old janky YouTube video, learn how to do a skill, and the next thing you know, a year or so later, they're masters in their craft. That always amazes me.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I actually dabbled in DaVinci Resolve and did some video editing, and I spent 15 hours on my first video. And for my first video, one of my friends goes, "Hey, that's actually pretty good." And I'm like, I just had fun. My ADHD took me away, and I was like, "Oh, I need to add this. Oh, I need to add this." Just thinking about cool little nuanced things like captions over people's heads and stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun when you get into this stuff because you're creating something that you're passionate about. You get into this by watching sometimes YouTubers doing this and making these videos from VRChat. For me, Joey Bagels, in which I actually got to meet him. He was such a nice guy, man. I'm not even kidding. You meet your heroes. Sometimes it's not good. This one was. Joey Bagels, amazing person. But there's a lot of inspiration there, and you can really learn this on your own, and you don't even have to be alone because there's other people learning this. You can do this journey with other people and get there faster.
There are also a lot of other communities here that run like workshops and stuff all the time as well. I remember seeing like there are different clubs. I think like Sanctum does like every once in a while workshops and stuff like that, and people just help you. Like there's like endless amount of resources if you speak and can network a little bit. You can find people just take a few minutes of their day, teach you whatever you're learning, and off you go.
Oh yeah. I think you can just throw a pebble, and you will hit a font of knowledge everywhere you go in any world. Any world you go to, you're gonna hit something. Someone's gonna be master of their craft or learning their craft, and it's an amazing feeling. There's so many creatives in this space. It's like, what did my girlfriend once tell me? She said, you want to learn a language, you want to almost drown yourself in that culture. Surround yourself in it completely. Well, this is it. Here it is. VRChat. If you want to find people who are avatar creators, you can find them. Find those communities, and you can learn from some of the best. Or world creators, musicians. It doesn't end. Anything. RP has actually been pretty interesting, especially as of late. My girlfriend's been getting me interested in some interesting things.
One of the most wildest things in terms of RP communities that blew my mind is how big like the Star Wars community is, or the Warhammer community is, and like the role playing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they're huge here. Like you can find massive communities dedicated to reenacting Star Wars specific scenes, whether from the books or the movies, or Warhammer communities that reenact entire Warhammer battles. It's really common here.
Yeah, one of my friends has been doing something similar with Star Trek. I think they're doing a Star Trek series or whatever with a bunch of friends. They invited me to do it, and I'm lazy. I'm gonna tell you right now. I just haven't gotten on and done it. I've actually been playing World of Warcraft, guilty pleasure. So I've just been enjoying it, just kind of relaxing. But just knowing that something like that is out there is really cool. I love Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie. I'm a huge Trekkie. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd too. So I love space sci-fi operas and all that. It's so cool. And the fact that people are in here doing this kind of stuff is amazing. Because personally, I want to do something similar. I was like, hey man, I play Star Citizen. You can build a really cool freaking space opera there, man. That'd be cool.
I think one of my friends I've met in VRChat, I think I joined in on one of their Warhammer reenactments, and Warhammer was a Star Wars. I don't remember, but I spawned in there, and there was like a giant ship, and there was like two different groups of people charging at each other. And for a hot second, I had no idea what I dropped myself into, but it was really cool to watch, though.
I've So I've only a few years, maybe 4 or 5. Honestly, time flies for me. ADHD, the whole presence of time just eludes me. So I have only played D&D for a good year. I'd never played it prior. I'd never, and I got into it, and I'd never fallen into something more naturally in my life, besides like music and stuff. Like that's why. So like some of those friends would be like, "Dude, you'd be a great RP, or you'd be a great actor," And I had, it was such a fun journey, man. Just doing stuff like that. RPing was. I'd always was a standoffish fella about RP until then. Because then I got to RP a character that I love, right? Ragnar Lothbrok from the show Vikings. And it was so, I did the voice, I did everything, I acted like it. Oh my god, it was so fun, and I want to do it again.
So I personally am a D&D nerd myself. What was your first character you made a year ago?
Literally, Ragnar Lothbrok.
Oh.
He was such a cool character. He began as a farmer, and I tried to stay as true to the character as I could. He began as a farmer, got challenged, was forced to go on a raid, and I'll leave out the bad bits because like there are some bad bits about his story that happened to his wife, but in the long he became Earl, which is kind of a leader of his place. And then he became like the king of the Vikings, and that's when they started raiding, London and all that stuff. He was that guy. I got to be him, and in this campaign, man, my DM was like, "Hey, if you can think it, you can do it. Try it." He regretted those words because he goes,
Yeah.
"I have never met anybody like you because you broke my entire game. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I became a king." I became a demigod. I did some really ludicrous things to the dark gods. And he goes and he sits there and he's like, 1, you're probably so lucky with your rolls. 2, the way you just RP, he actually admitted this to me. The way you RP'd your character, it was too much of, I had to follow your story. I had to figure out what you were doing because it was too compelling. We had played for a whole year, and he streamed it for a whole year.
Oh, wow.
And it was just this fun adventure that we did. I'll do it again. That was hella fun.
So during your first year in that D&D campaign, what was some of your favorite moments, roleplay moments, or maybe it was in combat?
I killed a chromatic dragon. And the way I did it was protecting my party. I got fed up with this dude. He was on the verge of dying. Or not even the verge, actually. He had a good chunk. And one of our players were down, and I sat there staring at all of them. I was in character, and I was like, this isn't going to happen again. So I went into a berserker rage because he was a barbarian. Barbarians are really cool. And, I sat there and I RP'd him out, and I'm like, Du kan ikke drive meg, which means you can't kill me. Ragnar Lothbrok. I am Ragnar Lothbrok. You can't kill me. And I just jump off of something, and go for the beheading. And natural 20. And that was such a cool moment. We unfortunately lost one of the players who in like the story lore, her soul was kept and was revived in a new body, but she had like a split thing going on because it magic and all that stuff. But that was one of the cool moments besides becoming king of the lands, and how we did that to overthrow a tyrant. We didn't go with full army raiding because at this point I was a earl. We snuck into the castle and beheaded them on their throne. And we saved their kingdom and brought prosperity, and even more because we were then beginning the war with this lich or whatever. But we did some awesome thing, and like if you were to hear the whole story out, you'd be like, how are you capable of doing this stuff? And like, I don't know, man. I put myself in his shoes. That's what I did. And I just lived it.
Yeah, I can't really say anything about playing D&D.
I'm going to be honest, it's very common for most people in VR to have at least heard of, listened to, or played D&D. It is a...
Lion,
yeah, honestly, and that's wild too, right?
Lion, I played first and second edition. I still have the books.
Oh, that's a classic.
I played it way back. I played it back where they almost outlawed it. Imagine the game that you loved.
Yeah.
Because of a kid
Just
killing
because so many
himself
people
over the
wanted to
ordeal.
do it.
No, it was actually a kid that literally went the wrong direction, and they almost threw it out because they. Yep, very much so.
Wait, wasn't there a movie on that?
Yeah.
Oh, as well?
Yes, it is, and it's based off of that because of a guy that literally went on the deep end, and the only way he saws everything was D&D form. Yeah, we had, and then when I went to college, we had a group that I got pulled into, and everything else. And what's the biggest group you ever played, Moxie? What's the biggest one you?
So there was this group. I had like a good 9 people in it, and I was DM.
Okay. How about 75 people or more?
That, man. That.
And we're not talking computers, none of that kind of stuff. What it
this
amounted
is pen and paper, man. That, dude.
Yeah, pen and paper, rolling and playing. You got to roll to take a crap. You got to roll to do this. If you forgot to pick something up, guess what? It's gone. You know, all that kind of stuff. This guy was that way, and his girlfriend's the one that cut the books. She played, but she kept the books on what was going on, like this, because she was doing shorthand in school, in college. So she was all shorthand, so it was simple.
Cool.
It was simple, and she could read it back to him, blah, 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 like this. But we never had everybody there all at once. It was always on a Sunday. We usually played once, maybe twice a month. But for some reason, I don't know what it was. I think it was colder than crap out. He had a big garage, big steel building. It was heated, blah, blah, like this. And he just postmark it up on the billboard at the college, blah, 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 game going. And everybody knew who it was, blah, blah, blah. You know, oh, okay, we got this time to this time. And you could walk in anytime, and he'd walk you right into the game. It didn't matter where you were at, what the deal was, he could slide you in. We had all 75 people there.
He said, we're going to slide you into those DMs. Pass the note.
Oh, and what was weird is you'd roll and he'd be on the next guy just that quick. Boom, boom, boom. I've never seen a man work so quick as a DM as he did, and it just blew my mind. And everything else like this. And I always play dwarves.
I wonder if that guy was a manager at like some place, you know?
It probably was, but but it was just unreal. You know, when you get a group of people, 75 or more, standing around, sitting at tables all over the place in I don't know if it was his dad's garage or what the deal, but it was huge. And everybody, you know, you brought your own food, you brought your own drinks, blah, 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 like this, and everything else like this. But here you are with your paperwork sitting there, and you go, what are you doing? And you roll your die, blah, 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 I'm doing this, roll it, blah, 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 and you go out. It was so quick. And we played. That day when we played 5 hours of gaming.
Oh my god!
And we covered ground like you wouldn't believe. What's up? Fire will.
How much deodorant did you guys bring?
Quite a bit. Well, You know, well, like I said, you know, some people would go.
75 guys packed into a place is
No,
not
not
gonna
just
smell
guys. And it's not just guys.
Oh,
It
and
was
girls?
girls.
Oh, damn!
Oh yeah, we had about 75 people. It wasn't guys. It was 75 people playing this game all at one time. Most time and everything else like this. And when all of a sudden I don't know what it was. Might have been during Christmas holiday, and some of us came back early, or I don't remember what it was. It wasn't in a warm season. It was cold, but the garage was at a decent temperature. You still had a sweatshirt or something like this, and everything else like this. But here you sat down, and all of a sudden they just started coming in droves. And it was the biggest funny thing is he just sat there, he postmarked it, and everything else like this, and all of a sudden they just kept coming. And they kept coming, and they just kept coming. I had somebody involve me. Goes, you ever play D&D? And I go, yeah, I used to play back in high school. Oh, you got to come to this. This guy's great. And some of the stuff.
Never again.
I got stuck in a hall. I got stuck in a mirror, and they had to carry me around 3 turns, going through everybody. This guy carried me around in a chunk of mirror because I got stupid and greedy and all this kind of crap. He'd throw the one I loved the most is when they whip out the deck of playing cards, and starts passing them up and says, "Play it." Oh God, I love that game so
deck of many
much.
Things. The one item in D&D that can immediately obliterate an entire campaign by a single draw.
Entire campaign.
Hello, Mr. DM.
Yep.
Did you put a year of prep time into this campaign? Do you want to put an item that'll just destroy it all in a single draw? That's the exact item.
Let's introduce this.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
That's how I got stuck in the chunk of mirror. Because you rolled. What he did is he threw out a card and everything else like this. And when you have 75 people and everything else like this, so he ended up people were coming in, he goes, well, I got to try this. And everybody goes, everybody up for this? We go, okay. And he turned around, and his girlfriend walked around with a deck of cards. And he goes, I want everybody to pick one card out of the deck of cards, the deck that he handed you. I don't know where he came up with all these decks of cards, but they're not all the same cards. It wasn't the same deck, blah, blah. And everybody pulled it out, and he says, lay it face down. And he started going around the table, roll first, and everything else like this. And you started with the roll, and then he flipped your card, and look out, I hope shit didn't hit the fan. Because we had the party at 75 people. Before it was over, we had them scattered all over different parts of the continent. And he wanted everybody back in the center. And it was nuts. It was nuts. Cool. But I got carried around 3 to 4 turns stuck in this stupid freaking mirror. Because guess what? My card wasn't healthy. It was dirty. Fucking sucked. Because the guy would be yelling at me, and I'd be yelling back at him, but he couldn't hear me.
Did you learn your lesson?
It was nuts. No, because my roll sucked. That's what bit me in the butt. And that's what bit me in the butt.
So you're still going to take risks like that, but it's...
Yeah. My character that I've got... I've got 2 characters. The one main character, the other character that I designed, most people won't let me play it. My other one is Ori.
What is
He's
broken?
a dwarf. No, it's not that. He's my figment of my imagination. When I rolled it in front of a DM, everything is in all 20s except for his looks. Well, and that's a 3.
Oh, dude, he is the ugliest dude in the world.
He has no face. All you see is red eyes. He's he is a character. The weapon he carries is a battle axe, and it collects souls. So whatever I kill, it goes in. Pretty much. But he's got a body of an centaur, but no face. He's got a human, blah, blah, blah.
You made and he walks around.
But he, what's funny about it, he cannot, the way the character's designed, I can teleport from one point to another point. The problem is I cannot help the group unless they're in need massively. And when he does, whatever I roll, the rolls are off the chart. Because I can literally tear down castle walls with just one swing. It just obliterates it. It's just unreal. But and everything else
really
like
cool,
this. And,
Mm.
yeah, it's a character and everything else, but most DMs won't let me play it because it's overbearing for most
he's
groups.
OP.
It's he's way out of whack. But Ori is a dwarf. He's a dwarf and he's a muffin maker. And Ori is.
So you're the muffin
if
man.
anybody, pretty much.
down
But
the
what it
lane?
amounts to is no, not down the lane. No. But
You
what
sure?
it's bad about
Muffin
Ori?
Man?
Yeah, I'm sure. What's
You heard about the Muffin Man?
Yeah.
The Muffin Man?
Yes, I know the Muffin Man real well. Name Ori. Yeah, but with Ori and everything else, if my name gets mentioned, my full name, everybody knows me just as Ori, but when it's full, and if somebody finds I can walk through a major village or a big everything else like this, whoever is the lord of that manor area or anything like this, and they get a whiff of me, I have to by rights serve them these muffins that are unreal. Kings will die for these muffins. And you know how many times I got pulled away from my party because I rolled, somebody else rolled, the DM rolled, because that's how we used to play. You had to go against the DM, roll for roll. It was the way we were played. That's why, and everything else like this. And guess what? Somebody mentioned my name, blah, 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 and it got out. Somehow in the party, somebody said blah, 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 and he picked somebody, and it never failed. The group would be miles and miles ahead of me, beyond me, and I'm still making muffins for the king until he can say, you can go. It was unreal. It never failed, but I was always getting myself in trouble. But my dwarf was actually a mining dwarf, but he was rated as a thief. He'd steal anything. If you left it, he had it. And yeah, it didn't matter because he had good. It was just one of those things, but
well,
the way it goes. And also
to pull this conversation a little bit back towards center, what got you started playing music in the beginning?
We're going to do it. Ding 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 ding. Wow, hold on, I'll be right back. I'll roll a 20 and see if I can keep going. Gotcha.
Exactly. What started it all, man? I just always loved music, and me and a few of my best friends. It was me, Mark, Chris, and Gracie, and we just, we shared that passion together. We always, hung out. We grew up and knew each other from the age of 8, and we just shared that music, man. We always listened to music every time we were playing games together. And we just kind of fell into it. Who started it? Chris. So Chris was, he'd gotten his first guitar at the age of like 10. And first thing he says to us, let's start a band. And we're like, I'm like, you know what? That doesn't sound bad. Let's have some fun. We listen to this shit. Why can't we do it? And Gracie gets a drum set. Yeah, she's a girl drummer. She is a protagonist drummer these days, by the way. And fuck, is it amazing. So Chris was our guitarist and backup vocals. I was a vocalist. We had Mark on lead guitar, and then we had gotten Robert with us for bass. And it was just so much fun. By the time we were 15, we were just playing out songs, man. We were just having... We covered a few songs from, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then some punk bands that we were listening to at the time. Living End, and a few other things. And we were just... I miss those times, man. You're just really hitting me back on that nostalgia moment. And the only reason I say that is because we lost Chris at like a year later, and music wasn't the same for a while. But VRChat is what brought it back.
So VR,
but they still did some amazing. Yeah, no, VRChat is my savior. In other words.
Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't know you could. I apologize.
No, dude. No. I ADHD. I can't help myself. But I work with others. So don't worry. You can interrupt me. It's all right. That's how these things go.
I got another one for him. Where do you think you want to go from where you're at now? How much? I know you want to more improve with your music. Did you say that all? You've said that quite a bit. You want to play better and everything else like this.
I'm a
Have you ever thought? We all are, aren't we? Wait until you get my age. It gets even worse. It's like it's scratched, and you try to rub it out with rubbing compound. It ain't gonna fix. But
I'm halfway there, man.
But have you ever thought and stuff like this? Have you ever had anybody come up to you and ask, "Hey, can you teach? Can you teach me to play guitar?" Like me, I've always wanted to learn to play guitar. Always. I don't have a guitar, but I want to get one. But I've always wanted to. I wanted to learn how to play, knowing I got fat fingers and all I get out of everybody. Late, man.
Get a guitar. Get a shitty $50 guitar.
You can make it sound got one of those.
Well, you can make it sound like a fucking $500 guitar. I can make it sound like a $500 guitar.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter the equipment you use. Sure, it helps. I will always state this. It helps. But it doesn't make the musician. You and your passion and your ability to learn and you wanting to learn is what makes you you. So have I ever been asked that? Yeah, I've definitely been asked that. Have I taught? There was a few people I did take under my wing. He's now a really good guitarist, surprisingly. He followed in the path of the fingerstyle acoustic percussionist, because this is what I love. I fell in love with acoustic percussion fingerstyle. It is a very unique style, and it is still in its infancy. And all it is it's just as what you think it is. You know, you're playing acoustic guitar, you're playing fingerstyle, and you're hitting the guitar in ways to make it also sound and emulate like drums. So you can be almost a one-man band with that. And I mean, there are one-man bands, but like with that, it's just, there's some amazing artists out there for that. I've been told that a lot. I don't think of myself as a good teacher, though. I know that there are better out there, and the only thing I can do for people is suggest things like, hey, how you want to start out, just get an instrument. Then number 2, learn 4 chords. Learn 4 chords. Within those chord structures and shapes, because I play 4 chords. I play a lot of 4 chords. Doesn't sound like it, does it? Here's why. I take away, add 7ths, add 9ths. I turn those 4 chords into 13, 16, and more. It doesn't take much. You can do it, man. It's but it takes practice, a lot of practice.
Okay. So have you ever thought about expanding or improving on what you're doing here or with your music in the future? Like, what are you thinking of doing?
Every single day. So what I do is obviously shows and I have been doing this with very recently Enterverse, and we put on shows, and we have a network now as well. You know, one of my business partners, amazing guy, he came up with this crazy idea, and but it's a really cool idea because you don't see too much of it out there, and it's, you know, it's cool. He's like, hey man, let's take Twitch, let's turn a Twitch channel into a TV station. And I'm like, you know, that's a cool idea because I've seen it before. I've seen some iteration of it. Streamer House has something close to it. It's not exactly it, but it's close. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's a, you know, the ultimate goal is maybe a 24-hour station where you have different programs every hour, right? And it's all going to be VR related. So that's one of the things I want to try to expand on is create and give these shows, right? I'm very experienced in doing open mics, curated events, long concerts, etc. And what I want to do is find someone who's out there who's willing and wanting to learn and teach them skills that they need to carry on an open mic, carry on a curated event, or anything of the above. Give it to them, put it on this channel, and put it out there for the masses. At least that's the idea, and that's the hopes. That's one of the things I do, okay? The other thing is that I'm one of the heads over at Artifex, and we pretty much just put on gigs and stuff and help people learn, and it's a very welcoming environment. So we, you know, like I said, I wear hats, right? So a very good entryway, I want to say, is Artifex. Or just getting in contact with me, because I'm not a shy person. I welcome people coming up to me. I welcome people talking to me, or even asking me questions like this, going, "Hey man, can you teach me a few chords?" Yeah, dude, I'll do that. Fucking, that sounds fun. I like that kind of stuff. That's me, you know, in a nutshell.
So, I'm gonna ask a question.
I mean, that's kind of what
a question. There's one of the groups you've mentioned I've never heard of before, and I was asked, what is Artifex, and how did you get involved with them?
Artifex. Artifex is the first place I've ever been involved with. That was the one with when I met that little panda and Great Pug a long time ago. He took me to their events. Artifex is one of the oldest and biggest music communities. It's ancient, man. In VRChat. We used to be called the Star Collective. It also began with people like TFM Johnny. Also had what was No Logic David was a staff member. Spork of Love. A lot of these musicians that you see here today came up in Artifex. And for Artifex's sake, it was always just about the fun of music, putting on a show, getting people there, getting people involved, having fun, making it a learning experience, and more. People like Bear. Well, I remember the days, me, him, Todd, Tony, a few others, man, we would chill in private calls, and we'd be hanging out at the campfire jams on Friday night. And we'd be playing music and just having fun and stuff. Look at them these days. Bear is what? 250,000 or more? Amazing musician who hasn't played music in how long? Which I want to get him back into. Yeah, I think a lot of this has changed people for the better too, in all honesty. And that's what Artifex is. It's a conglomerate of like-minded individuals who are artistic. And that is more than just music. That's art, that's digital art, that's drawing, that's painting, that's poetry. You think it, you can do it. That's Artifex.
So, also, Enterverse, well, obviously, we're on their wonderful stream, and you've mentioned it as well. How did you get involved with Enterverse?
Oh, my good friend Gobbet. He'd expressed that they needed someone they were looking at for events and as a community manager, and they were like, "Hey man, Moxx is pretty good." And you know, I got into a room with them and talked to them about everything I'd done. And they're like, "Dude, you got the same passion, the same vision, the same, you know, we like you. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hey man, let's do this. Let's do some amazing work." And the idea and the dream is to connect people, right? That's the dream. And that's what we're trying to do here. And even more now, obviously. And we're connecting people to this entertainment that they, you know, that they're not aware of. So there's a lot coming out of Enterverse that, you know, you guys will see soon. More or less at the moment, you're seeing Enterverse TV, as you already know. Great program so far. We got some great freaking shows up there and amazing people. Enterverse, I fell in love with it because of what they want to represent, what they're trying to do. And that is connect people. Connecting communities to people that they would have never otherwise been able to connect to. We live in a walled garden here in VRChat, man.
Yeah, I agree.
we're trying to take those walls and make little bridges or doors or whatever you want to imagine.
You know,
Connect people, man.
there's a saying that I feel like mentioning, although it's kind of related but not really. A rising tide lifts all ships.
And that is one of the other things we're trying to do too. At least my partner is definitely trying to do that, and he has such great ideas and things like that, and I'm just only hoping I can live up to those expectations. It's hard work. I'm gonna tell you, it's real hard work. It's not easy.
No.
And it takes the full ship to actually steer it. So we're doing we're doing the best we can, and we're making magic happen. I need to take a pee.
Okay.
And I don't want to pee my pants. So I'll be right back.
You don't need depends like me. You'll be okay. Just find the nearest cup.
Raps and I will shoot the shit for a minute while you go use the bathroom. It's perfectly fine. Yeah.
I'm fine.
For some reason, him mentioning peeing reminded me of that one time a long, long time ago where I at one point in time would drive from where I live to another 8-hour drive over to another state. And one of those days, I woke up late. And when I woke up late, I was working at 2 o'clock the next day. And me and my dopey ass hopped in my car and drove another 8 hours, gunning it down the road. I had to pee for fucking miles. And I just reached my hand over into in next to me, which I so happened to have a Gatorade bottle. And that was what I used. And for some reason, reminded of that time. And dear Lord, I'm glad I made it. I made it with minutes to spare when I got back to work. Never again. Alarms. Alarms are a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Alarms are a beautiful thing. Yeah, I've had that situation too. My dad does it all the time. There's always
that
a
was
bottle.
the best piss I've ever taken.
No, I gotta keep it clean. I don't want to. I could have said something bad. Don't want to go there, so I'll be nice.
I didn't say a bad word.
But,
that's not you. That's radio allowed.
No. I didn't say bad word. I was just thinking something off the
Enterverse
wall.
TV
is what I was getting.
Yeah, no, we're good. I mean, even I stayed like radio clean the entire time. So.
We're in the YouTube zone now.
So what I was pretty much like I tell most people and everything else like this, look on the bright side. If you shake it more than twice, you're playing with it, right? And I turn around and pop up again and go, guess what? Nobody else is, so it's mine. So yeah, I can do what I want with it. You can stick it where you want. I can play it. But no, my dad used to carry a bottle, and he still does. He always has an empty bottle, no matter what the ordeal is, and then he throws it away, and all of a sudden a new one shows up. But he's got me. Well, you got to understand, when you only have one bathroom and you got a daughter and everything else like this, I got a piss bucket. I got a piss bucket out in the garage. I got to piss and then carry it in the house, dump it in.
You got the backyard wall.
Yeah, no, I don't have that. There is no backyard. I already got a front yard. You open up and you're out in the alley.
You got the front yard wall.
Yeah, well, that'd be the neighbor's garage because it's right next to my place. It's that tight to the property line.
Oh yeah,
but
that's that guy.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And folks, boy, I don't care who you are. Yeah. Yep, you gotta go. And that saying, when you pull the side of the road and you hopefully no cars go by, you make sure you can find an off-road. You pop the hood or open up the door on the opposite side of that and turn it and look like you're digging around, and you just let it all hang out. You can just see it roll down the road. Get back in the car and get the hell out of there as fast as you can. Because in my luck, somebody's gonna come up on you going, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I was checking something on the passenger side. It was rolling around. It's driving me nuts." "What's this wet spot?" "Oh, I spilled I spilled my tea out that side and it ran out." Yeah, you come up with some weird, stupid shit to say if you ever get busted. You just try to think fast.
You know, you saying that reminded me of one time. I was in maybe 2 years out of high school, and I was over at my one of my ex's houses, and her family lived in the boonies of my state. And so the bathroom was in use. I just went out and used the tree because screw it. I don't care. I can stand. And so I'm out there, and her dad at the time just walks out into the woods looking for me, not knowing where I was, and just kind of walked in on me using a tree. We both kind of stop at that awkward stare moment of like, what are you doing here? Oh. Well, looked up and down. It's like, I didn't say anything. I need to talk to you. Just find me when you're finished.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Excuse me, sorry, and all that. I had to go. I gotta go.
I'm that wild punk. I would be like, "Oh, you're gonna join me for a wee?"
Get pop up. Hey, the tree's wider on the other side. Go ahead. I got this side. You cover the other side.
Don't look down at mine. I won't look at yours.
Take a picture. It lasts longer.
Doing that.
Flash photography, please.
Yeah,
I get shy.
Doing what? Yeah. Talking about that. The only thing that I ever and I had a friend that used to do the same thing my dad did. I still do it. I keep a bottle in. It's on reach, blah blah blah. It's always behind the seat, and everything else like this and all this. And I make sure nobody throws that bottle away just in case. Because if you can't, if you can't find a place, it's just one of those things. You just got to go, and you're just still traveling. I know a guy that did that, and he didn't throw the bottle out, and his grandson got a hold of it. And what was funny, because he learned a valuable lesson to make sure you take the label off of it, because it was apple juice, and the boy thought it was that, and it was in the back part of in the back behind the seat and everything else. And he went up to it and goes, "Grandpa, this tastes bad." And he couldn't figure out what the hell, because the lid was on. He put the lid back on. The kid did, and he only took barely a swig out of it. We didn't see it, but he comes up to us, and I was there, and he goes, "Grandpa, this tastes nasty." He goes, "Where'd you get the apple juice?" Because he goes, "Wait a minute, where'd you get the apple juice? Where'd you get apple juice? I don't have any apple juice in the house." And the light came on. He goes, "Give me that." And I mean, the kid looked like he was freaking paranoid. Like, this is not apple juice. It tastes nasty. Yeah, it's been in the truck too long. It just got really bad and hot. Was it warm in the truck?
God.
Yeah. And all this, and it was been in there for I don't know who knows how long. But he goes, "Yeah, it's nasty," because he didn't want to tell the kid he just got done drinking pee.
No, dude, I teach lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, "Yeah,
well,
that's
yeah, but he was
that's the human flavored apple juice."
He wouldn't flavored apple juice. He was only 5, and everything else like this. He wasn't like 14 or anything like this. Yeah, when you're that age, you're going, "Yeah, well, how's it feel to drink piss?" Yeah, I'd say something like that. But when it comes, to a 5-year-old,
and this isn't in regards to that. I think it was me playing with forks and outlets.
Oh, I have a story for you.
So when I went to do it, someone was gonna stop me. My father goes, No. Go on.
Yep. My dad was the same way. My dad said the same thing, but it wasn't me. It was my sister. She took a freaking bobby pin and stuck it in the outlet, and it bit her. You want to hear? This is how hard-headed my sister was. It bit her. She stuck and looked at it, and by what Dad said, and stuck it right back in it again. Like, once wasn't enough. Let's try it twice. Oh yeah, yeah. My dad's the kind of person, if you're stupid enough to do it once and have to do it twice, I ain't gonna hold you back. You'll learn one way or another. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of sticking things in outlets, I remember when I was a kid. My dad was complaining something was broken, and I was like young single digits little bebop lion. And so my dad at the time, this was my dad or my uncle, gave me a tiny little wrench kit, like it's small enough to fit in an outlet. And I was like, "Man, I want to help Dad out." And so I grabbed my little wrench kit. I went over to my bedroom outlet for some stupid reason and just stuck it in the outlet. Multiple fuses blew, everything turned off, and I could hear my dad from the living room just going, "What just happened?" I was like, oh God, I broke it. And I broke the thing, and the wrench is still in the outlet.
You're in trouble. There's outlet stuck in the outlet.
I grabbed it, No, I know what happened. It didn't feel good.
It bit me, knocked me on my butt, and I stood and stared at it for 10 minutes. Yeah, I think every kid goes through it. I probably have. Mine wasn't an outlet, and I wasn't that way. I had a habit of watching commercials. Do you know what Wonder Bread is?
Yes. Oh.
Wait a minute. Wonder Bread. Well, when I was a kid and everything else, the old commercial, when you squeezed it, it would talk. Mom lost me, and I found Wonder Bread. And before it was over, my mom had to pay for a loaf of bread that you could not tell it was a loaf of bread. I squeezed it so many times trying to get it. And my mom like, "What are you doing?" It didn't say anything. That's the only thing she told me when I was a kid. It didn't say anything. You want to hear what's a bite back? I had a Wonder Bread wrapper framed, and I got it for a Christmas present from my mom one year. And the saying at the bottom of it, because we don't have Wonder Bread up here. My sister, half-sister, got it, sent it to her. She framed it, and it says, this thing does not, it says, it doesn't say anything, and it's actually stamped in the bottom of it. That's kind of stuff that, yeah, pretty much 101. You know, I've did stupid things. Well, who as a kid ever does it? But when you have your own kids, right? Everything else like this, you have those memories. You know, you try to make sure they're always safe. Blah blah blah. That's a parent trying. You know, and you try to be there. But when they do something stupid, and then they look at it, and then come back and look at it again. You start to laugh, and you don't want to hurt them or anything like this. The biggest thing I remember with my oldest, and this is funny, because this is the kind of person I am. Everything else like this, we were cutting tree branches down at the house that I was staying at the time, and everything else. My oldest daughter comes up and goes, "Dad, I want to help." I know, okay, you take the big ones, I'll take the small ones. Figured, okay. Right? And I was cutting some pretty nice sized tree limbs. I figured, well, she's going to pull this big. I mean, she grabbed the biggest branch. And I mean, it's full size. It was probably about 12 inches in diameter. And she grabbed a hold of it and started to pull. She was only like 7 at the time, 6 or 7 years of age. And she grabbed that. And all of a sudden, she goes around the house and she goes, well, and everything else all of a sudden got quiet. And you're talking about a panic. All of a sudden, no sound, nothing like this, and everything else like this. And the tree got close to the pile, but never to the pile. That's fine. And everything else. And all of a sudden, she's sitting here watching. She asks, "Dad, what's that?" And I go, "That's a butterfly." "No, it's not. Butter doesn't fly. You're lying to me." How do you fix that and answer? That's a memory you never let go, and you sit there and you go, it's just what they call it. Still, butter does not fly. You put it on toast. And I'm going, okay. And I go, it's just an insect that flies around, blah, 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 trying to try to work. It's like the zebras have black stripes or the opposite way and everything else like this. And after that, she turned around and went back to picking up branches. But after picking up that big branch, she was picking up all the small ones every time I was just cutting with a handsaw, but it was just funny. But those things, when you do have kids of your own, look out. You'll see this. You're going, wait a minute, and it's not you what they're doing. It's what you remember as a kid of things you've done when you were young. All that coming up, and you go.
Ever had one. So like I have remember the person I called said it's she's the person that I kind of like helped out. So she's kind of like more of like what I call my pseudo daughter. She thinks of me as a father figure, and I don't have any kids of my own, but I have quote unquote raised her how I think I would raise my own kid. I've never gotten to experience the lovely stages like you. And I think if I were to go through those lovely stages, I would teach valuable lessons in a very fun and nuanced way where I would make them challenge their logic to incite them to critically think about the situation. Give them
That's
the
the way it
tools
should
that
be.
they need. Yeah, give them the tools
Mhm.
that they need to later use in life to succeed.
It's called thinking outside the box. You're trying to
Hell
teach
yeah,
them to
man.
think outside the box, is what it amounts to.
I like to
Yes.
say, I come up with fugazi kind of bullshit stuff. I'm like, you can think outside the box, you can think inside the box, or you can be the person that creates the box.
I like that. I'm gonna use that one.
True fact. Mm-hmm. It's true fact. It's true. He's right. You know, kids are something else. You know, and
they're
everything
smart.
else like this.
Oh, they're smart.
They're God. Oh yeah.
Give them the chance.
Oh
They're
yeah.
smart as hell.
You give them the opportunity to give them an inch, they're gonna take 4 inches, and you're happy they're taking those 4 inches. Those 4 inches of what they're taking and everything else, but you just got to keep an eye on them just a little bit and say, well, it was the same thing with me. Don't get me wrong. My dad built me a swing set and everything else like this, and I was screwing around and got wrapped up in it, and I was hanging upside down, screaming bloody murder. My dad sat right there from the back door, standing there. I couldn't see because I was further out, and everything else like this, screaming bloody murder. He heard me. He was ready. He stopped. All of a sudden, I quit screaming. So he stopped, and I got myself out of it and went back to playing. See, you logically, as you were there, but, you know, hey, see if you can get out. If you don't, I'll get my butt over there and help him out. But that was just the way my dad was and stuff like this. You know, like they say, you only have one set of parents. You know,
you're right.
You can have stepfathers, you can have stepmom. You only have one, and you know, when you get up there, and they get up there, and stuff like this. You look back at some of the stupid shit you did, and everything else like this.
Yeah.
But you learn from them, and like my dad always tells me. I tell most people, if I actually listen to half the crap my dad preached to me.
Oh God.
Preached, I'd be in better situations than what I am now. But
I am the exact opposite.
Guess what?
If I
but you got problem is if you constantly preach at your kids and you preach and preach and preach, they're going to do it anyhow. But if you tell them and everything else, you're going to have to learn it. You can't guide them all your life.
Yeah.
They gotta move forward. Right. They gotta find their road. Like I tell everybody here, I get people in here. They gotta find it
themselves.
Yes, I get people come up and ask me for advice and everything else like this, and I don't try to be rude to them or nothing like this. And the first thing I go, you don't want to fall on my road. Well, I want a little bit of advice, this and everything else like this. I could give it to you, but you're going to have to accept what you want out of it. And mine's not a smooth road. It's bumpier as shit. And it's got potholes some people sink in. But that's part of my growing up compared
community where they all say I'm like the VR dad.
I get that all the time. I've got that in here. I got there people, and I'm talking. You got to realize my age. My oldest is 32, and I got people that come up to me and go, "Can I call you dad?"
He's in my numbers. Wow.
Oh. How old are you?
Yeah, man, I'm not young. I sound young. I sound young. Don't
you sound like you're in your 30s.
I'm 34.
I'm not. Hey, you're about my age. I'm 32. Raptor's older than you and I.
Yeah. I'm 54. I'm 54. So.
Oh, okay. No, you're a lot younger than you made it sound. To be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's 32. So, yeah, I've got 3. I ended up with all 3. I ended up with all girls and everything else like this. You don't give them up for nothing because you learn as you go. You know, it's just the way it goes. You learn with them. You try to follow along. You try to be a parent the best you can. Cause like I tell everything, and I tell my mom the same thing. It does not come with a manual.
No.
You gotta learn it yourself.
No, you create that manual. You know,
that's right.
I know. I don't have my official, but I've been a stepdad a few times, and you know, with the one who's my pseudo daughter, I tried to do the best I can to provide her the tools. I never gave her anything on a silver platter. I said, "Hey, you're smart, aren't you? You should figure it out. I'm going to give you some of the tools to figure that out, and I want you to do that. You can come to me for anything else." I'll be there to shield you from things. But if you're gonna be my pseudo daughter, you're gonna be able to fight your own battles. And I can say right now, I'm absolutely proud of her because she can, and she does.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Well,
tough.
it should be.
She's tough.
She's tough. You got it. Well, I've had my real daughters come on here. My youngest daughter, that's 19, she used to come on here all the time. She does. She don't cut. Oh yeah, she's. I'm proud of her and everything. We said she'll turn around and go, "Dad, go away, go away." Lion knows how I am. Go away. Would you go away? You're causing me issues. And I go, all I'm doing is being myself. Yeah, it's scary. Just go away. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me. Go away. And everything else like this. But she doesn't come back.
But
yeah, you're embarrassing me. Yeah, I'm a nut. I have fun. It's VR. It's what it's here for. And plus, you do things.
I take it back. I think I've done that to her. I think I've pulled dad moments.
Uh-huh. I tell dad jokes, all kinds of stuff. She goes, just go away.
Well, you earned it.
Sometimes. Oh, yeah. Well, it's bad. She'll hear me call, because we call her in here as T. She'll come and I'll be talking to somebody in VR. And so, you're talking about me. What do you want? I go, no, I'm just talking about you and everything. You're proud of them, Hey, they got this far.
Yeah.
They'll go further. It takes a lot,
absolutely.
even in here or in the real world. It takes a lot. And that girl, she takes after me and she takes after her mother. She'll knock your skull down and she ain't going to put up with your bullshit.
That's good to hear, man.
Most of my girls are that way because it's not an easy life and it's not a silver spoon. It's not a silver spoon on any side of
life. You need to take a life by the fucking horns and make it yours. And you need to shape your own life, especially nowadays. In the internet culture, we shape our own lives. We create our jobs. I created my job. I know your children can definitely do that because you've provided for them the tools capable.
Yeah. I can. Well, with that said, thank you very much, MadMoxx, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to speak with and meet you.
It's been a blast. It's been a blast, really.
It's been hella fun. I haven't gotten to talk like this in a long time, so.
And you're always welcome back to whenever you wish.
Yes.
Oh, whatever, man. Just hit me up. I love this kind of banter, man. It's really cool.
You have anything you want to plug?
Yeah. Where can people
That's usually Lion's line, so I beat him to the punch.
If people are interested, here's a cool little thing that I found out maybe a year ago. You can type my name into Google and you'll find all my work. MadMoxx, MadMoxx. It's that easy. You type it into Google and you can find a lot of my stuff. I have a Instagram, YouTube, Twitch channel, which is MadMoxx_. I use that name everywhere. Anything else? Check out artifex. Check out Enterverse and Enterversetv because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and such as covering metagen, your degenerate stuff. But we want to do even more, and we hope we can do some more with you.
We would absolutely love to take part in whatever Enterverse wants us to. And this entire VR ride has been beautiful. So, thank you for your time.
Oh, you guys are special people. I love both of you. You guys are awesome. You really gave me some nostalgia there. I love this. Thank you so much for letting me be on this show.
Thank you for giving us your time. An hour and a half is quite a long time to banter.
Oh, trust me, I did long shows. I know.
Well, everybody, Raptor, thank you guys for joining us. And if you're coming over from the Metaverse stream, thank you very much for checking us out. Welcome to Metaverse Degen. And Raptor, as always, close us out.
You got it, Lion. Wherever you're at, folks, if you're in VR in real life, no matter what you do, I don't care if it's a small nut, big nut, it can be cracked. Play it how you feel it. If it's music, whatever your art is, don't give up. Play it to the heart. And guess what? that heart might just bite you back and make you feel like you're on cloud 9. Bye, folks. Take care. You have a good one. Thank you for showing. Bye.